everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for October 5th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 26 live feeds. It was day 81 in the house, and we are still just trucking along, coming to the close of this season. But we did get a Final Four veto result, so we'll have that to talk about. And that's mostly it. But with me to talk about it, it's Maggie. How you doing, Maggie?
Hi, Taran. Hi, everybody. I feel for you because we still have a week of stuff and everything's happened. Everything that's going to happen this week has happened. So these next couple podcasts, I can't wait to see what you come up with to keep the people entertained. But yeah, I'm good. I'm happy to be here for my last probable Big Brother podcast of the season. Talk about the veto results. Talk about the things that there are to talk about.
It's funny. Normally, toward the end of a season, it feels like the decisions become more consequential. But this season, it feels like they're less and less consequential.
Well, yeah, because when somebody's got it wrapped up so tightly, it's like, what else? It could go this way or that way, and it probably still wouldn't matter at the end of the day. But yeah, we can talk it through.
All right. Well, really, there's not much to talk about until we get to the veto competition and thus the veto results. And surprising no one, MJ wins the Final Four veto. Cam was apparently a close second place, though, and he was really bummed out about this. I mean, we talk about this not being surprising and not being consequential, but Cam was definitely going to vote out MJ. And coming in a close second place means that MJ, once again, by the skin of her teeth, survives a week. But that's how she's been all season, just clutching it up.
And I was about to say, and you can't be super mad about that. Like she has been able to pull it out when she's needed to. The AI arena, I'll never forget. And that her iconic blue set. And Kim was really upset. The dogs at the crib were really, I'm sure that they were pouring one out for him because with this veto loss kind of took Cam's chances to win the game, in my opinion, unless he can pull out that final 3 HOH and get rid of Chelsie. But even that, I don't know that that would even clinch him the win against MJ.
Yeah, I mean,
he's
now theoretically in a position where it's either him or Rubina leaving, and Rubina, I think, given the reaction to this result, it really does to me feel like he was planning to take Rubina to the final two.
1,000%. He was big bumming, like in the bed, head under the pillow, like really, really upset. And I think that's the thing about Cam is because he's so quiet and has been fairly, inactive at points in the season. I think people think that he doesn't know what he's doing or like he doesn't see the game clearly. I do think he sees the game clear enough to know what he has to do to win. And I do think we watched him realize that there's really no shot or his winning chances have become incredibly slim.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. Now, of course, it goes beyond that as well. MJ is going to bring up her hesitancy to keep Cam when talking to Chelsie. She says that she thinks that, Cam is maybe slightly more of a threat at physical competitions, and maybe we should take him out. Chelsie disagrees. She says Cam is just as bad at comps as Rubina. Do you not remember just a few days ago we were like, oh, he's throwing competitions. He's just bad at them, and hey, there aren't even any physical competitions left. There's the end game doesn't have physical final 3 HOH physical.
Where, Taran, I just want to know, like, where this, like, why do people still think this? Is there somebody out there spreading misinformation?
Like, to be fair to Chelsie, there's an obvious reason to lie about this if she's trying to keep Cam around.
Right.
But the fact that MJ would believe it is wild.
Yeah, 1000%. I'm just used to people really meaning it when they say, "Oh, it's all just quiz comps at the end." Like, I when I find the Twitter account spreading the misinformation or the YouTube account that all of these people go on to watch, I'm gonna get you because you really have messed some people up here in the end. If I can tell anyone who's ever going on Big Brother anything, it's the end game comps stay physical. That is gonna be my number one thing that I say before somebody goes in the house.
Yeah, I mean, even in this season, like we're seeing that the competitions varied quite a lot throughout the
Mhm.
season. We had such a great variety of winners up until Endgame, where two people have won the vast majority of the remaining competitions. So you just have
Also,
to
though,
watch out for that.
1000%. But what I will say about what has happened here at the end is because the competitions were so varied physically at the beginning, it gave the opportunity for players like Chelsie to get out the people who would have beaten her in these endgame competitions. So she had the opportunity to trade off comps with MJ. Like, I don't have an issue with people trading off comps in the end if it was done with the strategic understanding throughout the game that I need to be able to win at the end. So I need to surround myself with people that will help me win.
I mean, I still have an issue with it because it's boring.
Sure. I just think it's like the game mechanic of, I mean, Dan and Memphis traded off competition wins at the end of BB10. Like, I think that it's a part of the game in general. Of course, I would have loved to have seen a Rubina HOH and a Cam Veto. That would have been
Right.
thrilling. But it's just like I said, it's just part of it.
It doesn't have to be.
You're right.
um, so MJ, she retorts. She says that she thinks Cam is just straight up better at competitions than Rubina is. You know, whether or not there's physical competitions left, he did much better than Rubina, or at least better than Rubina in this veto competition.
Mhm.
He's better than Rubina at competitions. And Chelsea's like, well, yeah, I think they're equally bad. I think they're equally bad. Um, and then that kind of spins them off to start complaining about how Rubina and Cam have only won one competition each, and how that means that they don't even really deserve to be here. And it should really only be the two of them in the final two. And so, you know what? They'll think about it more. They'll think on this some more between Cam and Rubina. To me, it seems clear that MJ has a preference toward evicting Cam, and
Mhm.
obviously Chelsie has a preference toward evicting Rubina. And I don't think this will be fully decided until later.
Also, like, no matter what MJ says right now, it's we're gonna watch Chelsea do some work on her, and we'll watch her waffle. And yeah, that's in from what Taran's been reporting on all season. That is sort of what we're in for over the next couple of days.
Hmm. So that's really, like, there's really not
Mhm.
much more to the day. There's
I have some advice for house guests
mhm.
if you're in the house and there's live feeds. Like, save the stuff where you are discussing things about fellow house guests, past house guests, even your own personal information. Save that like fun sort of gossipy stuff for after the live feeds are off and the entire world cannot see what you are saying about sensitive information and sensitive topics about other people. Like, I get it. You are super bored in there. I get it. It's fun. It's lighthearted. To the four of them at the table, it's lighthearted, it's silly, nobody's taking it all that seriously, but it goes on the internet forever. So I would just say if you find yourself in the house in the end game, bored out of your mind, and people want to gossip or say funny, play games about who is most likely to, and they start talking about sensitive things that you think people may not want on the internet forever, say, hey guys, we're going to be out of here in 10 days. Let's play this when we're at Todrick's house, not for the entire world to see.
I don't know if anyone's going to Todrick's house anymore, but uh,
It's the
um,
it's the spot that I will continue to wherever they end up after,
mm,
you know.
yeah. Well, one thing worth noting, at least game wise, Cam, as Chelsie spends a lot of time with MJ, Cam spends
Mhm.
time with Rubina. A lot of like commiserating, as the two of them are the two vulnerable people here, and again, it really feels like Cam is kind of like, oh, there goes our games. Like, but they also just continue to bond, and it's worth noting because I think I agree with the notion that Cam is probably screwed here, but he has done well, especially with Chemo and Rubina, to really like bond with them. I think that he's bonded the most with like even somebody like Angela as well. Like I think that Cam actually has the relationships to win a jury vote. He just doesn't have the respect.
Yeah.
We talk about I at least I talk about likability versus respect a lot, and I think
Mhm.
Cam very much wins the likability factor when it comes to this jury vote. It's the respect factor that he is really lacking, and likely the reason why he would lose a jury vote. But he continues to do good, theoretical jury management with Rubina here.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I was saying, like, he did really need to win this veto and boot MJ and then win the final 3 HOH and boot Chelsea. Like, that's the way that you win the respect at the end game. That's the Steve of it all. Um, I just think, MJ is if Cam ends up in a final 3 situation with Chelsea and MJ, I don't know that he can pull out that Steve clutch win. We'll see. But yeah, I I agree with you about the likability factor, and I think that stuff in the problem is now that Cam only has one full competition left to play.
Yeah, I mean, his only hope is that either MJ or himself cuts Chelsea, and he goes to
Yeah.
the end with MJ, and then he can contrast his game against the comp player
Yeah.
versus the
Mhm.
social player, and I think that's a good contrast for him. Obviously, against Chelsea, she's got both, so it's like
Mhm.
you just have no argument there.
Mhm.
With MJ, you've got something. Yeah, it's kind of rough when she's won this many at this point, especially if she's the one to cut Chelsea, but not impossible, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. And yeah, I just completely agree.
Yeah. Um, all right. Well, that's really kind of it here for the day. MJ locking in her spot in the final 3 with Chelsea. Um, they are continuing to very much talk about going to the end together. I I've said this a lot. I would say, despite any talk of the contrary, any hints of the contrary, the more somebody talks about going to the final 2 with somebody, the more they tend to mean it,
Mhm.
unless they absolutely have to, or they're like a specific kind of player. Like obviously, when Cody was talking about going to the end with Nicole, he was facing her in the final 3
Mhm.
competition, and was very much lying to her. That doesn't happen that often. Surprise,
Mhm.
whether that's a surprise or not.
Ah, remember
Most
how
of the time,
fun that endgame was when we got on here and we were like, and he stopped saying it to Enzo. Why is that? Is it because he doesn't want it to get back to Nicole? Oh, that was fun. Like BB22 was cursed for many reasons, but that final week actually very fun.
yeah. People forget that the ending is pretty great of that season in
The
terms of
ending is
like
so good.
the
Also,
blind side of Nicole.
I was getting a bunch of crap online for saying that Nicole is one of the best to ever do it. Argue with yourselves. That's what I have to say. Watch all her seasons. Argue with yourselves. She is one of the best to ever do it. She got outplayed by Cody, but she is one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah. Well, of course, that's basically what's going on. I would not expect MJ to be really considering cutting Chelsea until it comes down to it, and she actually starts promising things. Would be my guess. So,
Mhm.
that's about what we've got. I will be back, of course, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on everything that happens today on the Big Brother 26 live feeds. And tomorrow night there will be an episode. Who knows what time it is at this point? 9:30 to
I think
9,
10.
8, 10.
I'm
Jeez.
sorry to your sleep.
All right. Well, you can also find me on Twitch, of course. I think there's gonna be a Blood on the Clock Tower game that
Oh, yeah.
that drops today from RHAP
saw that.
Survivor players. So tune in for that. That'll be fun. And that's, I mean, check out the Circle, the Summit, Jet Lag, scripted shows, all that good stuff. Maggie, what do you got going on?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads at @MLMorgan_. You can see me at our RHAP live show on October 16th at the Tribeca Performing Arts Center. Everybody should come. Taran will be there. I will be there. Survivors will be there. What a great time. You don't want to miss it. Come on, come hang out with us.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that is what we have for you then today. Thank you all so much for joining us, and I will see all of you next time.